All right, so we have week 2 here, Fretboard, Illogic. I thought it'd be a good idea just to start off by reviewing, because last week kind of hit you hard with a lot of stuff because I wanted to, just go all in. So we started with the horizontal chromatic scale on each string and then naming the note. So let's just practice that at a nice easy tempo. We'll go up to the 12th fret on the first string or each string, and we'll stop at a particular point and we'll name the note. Okay? One, two, three, four. Stop. Second finger, 6th fret is a B flat. Now we're going to look at the B flat on the second string and just make the connection that that is the same pitch. Even go as far as go to the third string. Okay, B flat. Great. Now we were with our second finger. Let's move to the second string for now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop. That is the 7th fret of the second string. That is an F sharp or G flat. Either one, however you want to look at it, is fine. Now let's look at the note on the first string, F sharp. And on the third string, and even on the fourth string in this case. Okay, that's good. Next string, the G string. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop. That is an A note. Hey. All right, let's get it on the 4th string. Now the 5th string. We're connecting these, and now even the 6th string. Remember Les Paul used to, for Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Which we're going to get to in future weeks, actually applying this stuff, playing melodies. Okay, 4th string. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop. That is an F sharp, right? Okay, now we get it on the 5th string. So now we only have 3 options for all notes below G. Okay, now we're down to just 3 options each. Okay, now let's start again on the 4th string. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop. There's your G. Open G. So you tune. Before there were electronic tuners. Now, here, and also the 15th fret on the low. 4 options for the same pitch. Okay, 5th string. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop right there. C sharp or D flat. So we have one other option. Right? For D natural, we have the open D. We have 3. D flat, now we go down to 2. That's it. Okay, low sixth string. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop, D sharp or E flat. Start on the 12th fret, 4th finger, and we'll descend. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop, and here is the A, 5th fret. So now anything that's one choice, E, low F, F sharp, G, and G sharp. Now when you hit A, the fingerboard starts opening up. As we get to the higher registers, it opens up more for options and choices. So, okay, that was the chromatic horizontal scale. Then we did the low E to high E chromatic scale, which kind of fits right in where we are because we're having 5 notes per string when we play the chromatic scale. And here we go. If you move your pinky up, there's your A note, the 2 option. So even though we're only putting 4 fingers down, it's 5 notes. Remember that, because when we started here, we have to use another finger. We don't have the open string. So, and then we go to the next string, 5 notes, D, G, and now we only go, right, no open string, correct? Because G to B is the major third. Got knocked out of tune, you remember, at the first supper? So we have to deal with that now. That's not actually the reason why. But fourths, 4th, 4th, 3rd, and then a 4th. That's the reason why. I just want to review. Okay, so what I want to do is play that chromatic scale from low E all the way up to the high E. So now when we go, now we're back to the horizontal chromatic scale to get us to, and we'll stop there. Okay? We'll go a little slower than the 100 there, bring it down to 90. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next string. No open string, right? There we go. Now we're on the horizontal chromatic. All right. Let's do that again even a little bit slower so we can give a little more time to think about what's coming up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now what I want to do is the same thing, but now when we do this, watch. When you hit the open A, I want you to think about that this is the same note. I just wanted you to think about it when you're hitting the open A. Think that that is the same note. And do that for each of the strings. Okay, let's try that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I want to move up to that note and go back. So no open strings in this. You see that? Instead of the open G, I'm going to go one more fret with my pinky to the G on the 5th fret. Here there's no change. Up, and then chromatic all the way up to the E. Okay, so we're going to keep that G and B the same for now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to move the pinky up one more fret and jump back down to the 1st fret. Stay the same. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. No change. Great. Now, watch this. I'll let you choose this time whether you're going to use open or 5th fret. This is going to be your choice. I'm going to use the open string for now to demonstrate. Just stay with me here. Okay, now I'm going to move chromatically on the B string. All the way up to the 12th fret, high B, and stop. Okay, let's do that together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're moving up horizontally on the B string. And we stop right there. So that's a high B. Now let's go to the 1st string and just see where the same pitch is. Right? So the next move we're going to make right now to get to the high E is we're going to go with our 1st finger from B to C on the 1st string. You see that? Just another way to get there using now the 2nd string as our way to move horizontally to get higher in pitch on the fingerboard. Okay, the other option, quickly, is that B is to move up with your pinky and then jump down with your 1st finger to the C sharp and end on the high E. Right? Just a little more insight into the fingerboard. You know, we're going to take little steps here as we go with these scales. So let's practice now again up to the B and then jump to the 1st string, C note on the 8th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pinky goes up to the high E to end the 3-octave chromatic scale from E to E. Let's try it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 12th fret and then jump to the first string, C note. Oh, missed it. And then high E. Great. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, now one more time, but instead of jumping to this C, let's move the pinky up on the B string to this C, then jump to the C sharp for the last 1, 2, 3, 4 pattern to the high E note. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Move your pinky up 1, now jump. One more time, 3, 4. Pinky up 1, jump to the first. All right, so I challenge you for the week, if you're up for it, and if you're going to spend some time with this, to look for, jumping off points to the next string. I mean, we can do this now with, say, with the G string. And now jump. Right, since it's only 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, or we can go all the way up the G string and now go down. Right, so there's like a zillion ways to jump off, Rather than write everyone out and go through this complicated thing, it's the kind of the concept that after 10 weeks of this, you're going to realize that there's always another way to play it. Okay, so I just, I'm not saying go nuts with it, but maybe if you're going to practice it every day, 5 minutes, just look for different ways and places to jump to the next string using the chromatic scale. All right, that's number 2. Number 3 was the major scale construction, because like we discussed, American music really has, kind of evolved into the major scale, we call it. It's all the major scale, a lot of major scale sounding stuff, right? One key, one center. Okay, so I think it's important to know the construction of that major scale. Whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Most of us know that. Okay, I like to play it starting on the C. I think we did it in week 1. So let's all play a horizontal C scale, knowing whole step, half step, meaning a whole step is 2 frets and a half step is 1 fret. Okay, so actually say to yourself, whether it's in your head or aloud, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, and half step. Okay, we'll do it nice and slow to give you time to say that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, hang on. Let's give 2 beats each. Whole step, half step. Okay, we'll do it that way. A 1, 2, 3, 4. Whole step, half step. Again. Okay, now, before we even descend, let's take a look at this. Instead of hitting this C note, let's hit that C note. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Whole step, half step, whole step, and up to the high. Okay. Now, let's jump down to the first string on the B note instead of the C. So we'll get, instead of, okay, let's try that. 1, 2, 3, 4. B note on the first string and high C. Again. Okay, now let's jump down on the G note, jump to the A on the first string, and move up to C. 1, 2, 3, 4. Jump to first string. Okay, again. Whole step, half step, whole step, half step. Great, now jump down F to G. 2, 3, 4. Jump to the first string. Great, again. Okay, now the E to the F. 3, 4. First string, and we move up horizontally. Whole step, half step. That's the formula all the time. Once again, whole step, half step, whole step. And now we'll move from the D to the open E string. 3, 4. Whole step and half step, and now we move once again. Okay, so that's just a little bit of an insight into how I came up with over 100 ways to play a 1-octave C scale. Just by placing the note each time on the next string as an option, because we're learning about all these options now, especially on the upper register notes, that's just one way to make 7 different ways to play a simple C scale. It's kind of amazing when you think about it that way, because it's like no other instrument that way. In one way, it's very simple and nice because you can hit one chord form and play it in all 12 keys. Makes it very easy in one way, but the other side of it is, wow, you know, how do you get a guitar player to turn his amp down? Put music in front of him. There's a reason for that, because it's tough with all the options to read on guitar. Okay, so that's the major scale construction with C. Now, let's take A flat on the 3rd string. I know A flat's always like, oh my God, A flat, but we're just going to look at it horizontally at first, the same way we looked at C. And we're going to say the formula, and we're going to play an A flat major scale, moving horizontally on the 3rd string from A flat. We might as well hit the octave right now so we know the ending note. Right? Now's a good time to play Somewhere Over the Rainbow, because that's an octave. We have to start training our ear to recognize intervals. The other one that comes to mind is right, that's the Christmas song. And that's just octave and then down the scale. Okay, so we're going to start, you know, making connections with songs as well as we go here. So let's play the A flat major scale. 2, 3, 2 beats each. Whole step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, up to the high A flat. Once again. Great. Now let's go to E flat on the 4th string. 1, 2, E flat major scale. Once again. Great. Quick little tuning check here. Okay, so as you can see, this formula works. It feels odd because you're in like an area you quite never have been in when you just think of the key E flat or A flat. As opposed to C sounds friendly because we play a lot of C notes on the guitar, you know. So what I want to do now is take the B note on the 5th string and use the formula and move horizontally to make a B scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, whole step, half step, whole step. Okay, stop. What note is that? F sharp, the 5th. So now, this coming week, when you're making all 12 keys major scale, right, I want you to start stopping yourself and not only thinking of the note, but what the intervallic relation with the root is. 5th. And you could always, when you stop, go back to the root and back to the 5th. Get your option here, so start to look at it as together as well, not only separated. And that happens to be the foundation of so many chords: major, minor, flat 9, all kinds of minor 9. It all has that in it, right? So Let's do that again on the B scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And high B. Once again. Stop. What is that? It's D sharp. And why is it D sharp and not E flat? It's D sharp because we're in the key of B, right? And B has 5 sharps. It's the third. There's the fifth. There's your B major arpeggio. Triad. Again, root third, root. So this is what I want you to try to do this week, is go through all 12 keys. It's not that difficult with this formula. And don't forget, you have all your notes either on the open, first fret, or second fret. You have E, you have F, you have F sharp, so you started there. You have open G, you have A flat, you have A or open A, where you can start your A scale. Same with B flat. Oh, well, we're starting either on second, so B flat is here. B or B. C. C sharp. Open D. E flat. E. And we're back to E. So there, just find the next key. Note on either the first fret, second fret, or open string. Use the formula, play all 12 major scales. Stop yourself in the middle during, it doesn't have to be, first get the scales down. Second step would be stop yourself and say, oh, that's a D sharp, and that's the third of the key I'm in. And then play root third. Okay? So that's kind of the next step of trying to use this information. And anytime you're, try to listen for song melodies when you're doing these intervals, when you stop yourself. Just if something pops into the head. Don't go crazy with it and try to find something, but just try to recognize, in songs that you like, try to recognize intervals. If the song is, say, Angel Eyes. Boo-doo, boo-doo, that is a fifth, perfect fifth. Could be do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Nationwide is on your, what is that? Ba-ba-do-do. That's a minor third. Okay, so it's a good thing to do. Test your intervals is, I guess. Really try to start listening for intervals. Okay, next is the, okay, now that we're on major scales, before we get to the Slonimsky, the next thing I want to look at is the vertical major scale. Going to give you a couple of positions to start it, but here's what I really would like to do, is use each of your 4 fingers as a starting point on each of the starting notes. So again, if we think about this in the key of C, right? There's the low C. First finger, second finger, whole step, then another whole step, because it doesn't make sense to jump down to this one when you have this one here in this particular position. Now I'm going to jump down to the F, the half step, whole step, jump down, whole step, half step. Let's play that together. And descend. Let's try it again. 3, 4. Great. Now let's start it with our second finger. It's going to bring us into another position. Right? Whole step is right there. Now, instead of jumping up to this E, it makes sense to use the option to stay in a position. And now we jump down. Move up, because that's the half step, right? We did a whole step, another whole step, now a half step. If you ever get confused, follow the formula. Whole step, that's the fifth. Now we're going to jump again, whole step and half step. So let's play the scale now, starting with the second finger. 3, 4. Jump. And back down. Now that's one that many of us are familiar with, probably. Okay, now let's start with the third finger. Okay, now we have an option. We could either use the pinky or that one. I'm going to use this one. And jump to the G, and now either go up to this C or that C. Actually, I'll go to this C and back down. Starting with the third finger. Now let's start with the fourth finger. And I jump to the string here. Okay, so that's just this C note. And as you could probably see already, that you have many options with each of these. Like you can, instead of going here, and now. I mean, you can make up probably, 10 right here, starting with this note with the first finger. Okay, so what I would like you to do is go this week. I believe there is literature, PDFs with the different, I think 12 positions for a C scale is in the folder. And again, instead of me writing everything out, I gave you 12 positions. Now use each of your 4 fingers as a starting point in those positions and try to come up with all different kinds of ways to play the C major scale, moving horizontally. Sometimes you'll go horizontal, then vertical. I meant vertical, not horizontally. Vertical, right? Sometimes you may move a little horizontal, then up vertical. I want you to start exploring all the different ways just by using the technique we used in the opening of this, which was playing a scale, stopping, and looking at your options. No different than with a scale. If I have an E flat scale, okay, my next note is going to be C, so next note's D. I could use this one, or even jump to there. I may want to go one day, right? It's not out of the question that I would go from here down to here. So, didn't mean to jump ahead with E flat, but eventually we're going to be playing these scales in all the keys. And it's not going to really matter what key, because you're going to start, all these connections are going to start to be made. Okay? So that's vertical. Okay, so I just want to start in C for now, for this week, and just look at some options. Get that 12 positions PDF out and start going through your options. Okay, let's review up to here what we reviewed. Chromatic, each scale, chromatic horizontal on each string. Starting to see connections when we use the long form chromatic scale. Moving up on the B string and then jumping down to the E string. Using this A instead of this A. Just different little ways to get from low E to high E. You could start by moving vertical on each string, then jumping down. Okay, that's kind of what we reviewed. That's kind of what I'd like you to go over this week, is just look at more ways to get from low E to high E. While stopping in the middle and looking at all your options. You can't stop doing that. That's a very important part of this whole 10 weeks, is always stopping yourself and saying, what are my options right now? Okay, and this is the way that when we, this is the way how I figure out anyway, and I think everyone does, because of the options, when we're put in a position where we have to play something that's really difficult, I always start immediately now looking for options, and I'll always find an easier way for myself to do it, because there always is another way to get it on the guitar. It's crazy, but it's true. Okay, then we did the major scale construction. We practiced it in a couple of different keys. For the week, I really want you to play all 12 keys, horizontal, right? And then you could start looking for jumping off points. We did that with the C scale. We came up with 7 different ways to play that scale, right? You could start looking at that. If not, I'm not rushing anything either. We still have 8 weeks left, right? So I'm not rushing anything, but we have different levels here. So some people may just want to do a couple of keys, and other people may be jumping all around the fingerboard. Okay, so that's what I'm going to open up for everybody. Then we did the vertical. We introduced the vertical major scale using each of our 4 fingers as a starting point. On each of the starting notes of the 12 positions that are in the PDF, in the P cloud, start looking for options. You know how to do that. For the more advanced, move on to different keys. Challenge yourself. Try D flat. Try B flat, E flat, E. Keys you don't normally play in. Start to explore it. Remember the formula. That'll get you through. Okay? And then now on to Slonimsky. Amazing. Which is the other way to look at the fingerboard, in my opinion. We have this major scale, right, which is all the modes are based on the major scale, right? I don't even want to mention that word to confuse anybody, but it's really all 7-note scales. That's 7 notes that make up the major scale. 7 of the 12 chromatic notes, the mother scale, the chromatic scale. Okay, Slonimsky, what he did was he cut the scale in half. There's your octave, and then created patterns based on that. 2,000 of them, I might add. We're going to go through all 2,000 in this no, I'm kidding. Lifetime study. I haven't even got through probably 50 of them. It's just overwhelming, especially on the guitar because of the options. It's not like a piano where you play them and you go up and down the keyboard the same way in each register. Okay, that's why these exercises, I started to edit them for the guitar. Okay, so let's go over number 1. He uses a half step and then cuts the scale in half and another half step. It's a 4-note pattern. Let's just practice this over and over like this. I use the Django fingering 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, you can use 2, 3. That may make sense to some. just build up the speed a little bit. Right? Okay, now next octave. Again, the octave is here. We cut it in half. The tritone. Half step, tritone, half step. Okay, now let's put them together. 2, 3, 4. Keep going. Great. Let's do that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. Now high C, C sharp. Slide up to F sharp, G. Great, now let's put it all together. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Great, let's do it again. 3, 4. Look ahead. Look ahead. Great. Now, let's start it here. First, let's do the first pattern on the low C on the 8th fret of the 6th string. Let's get the octave and the halfway point. Right, there's your 5th tritone, flat 5. That's where the tritone sub is. That a zillion times. That's where that comes from, the tritone. Okay, so we're going to just practice low register. Okay, now let's look at the next register. Get the octave. Notice how the octave is now 3 frets apart instead of 2 frets apart. Why? The major 3rd instead of the 4th. Just to add a little confusion. And there's the halfway point. And that's why it doesn't look like a pattern anymore from up here. So that's where we have to always remind ourselves, oh, that's right. Okay, so let's practice this octave. Great, now let's put the 2 octaves together. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. And one more time. Now we're going to do high C starting on 13th fret C instead of 8th note C. And it's right there. We'll practice that one. One more time. Great. Now let's put it all together. Position 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Great. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. Let's try to descend. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think about this way. I think about the first note as the upper neighbor to the tritone. And then the upper neighbor to the root. So my eyes are on the F sharp and the C, not the G and the C sharp, if that makes sense. I look at it as an upper neighbor. Okay, so let's try ascending, then descending. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now descend. One more time. Descend. Great. Great stuff. Now we're going to look at it this way with our fourth finger, C, and then that D flat. And then F sharp here, and that G. So instead of, it's going to be, okay, let's take a look at that really slow, this octave only. 3, 4. Again. And one more time. Now, just look at this for a second. There's an F sharp right there. Another way to play it. Jump to the next string and you're at G. Really all we're substituting is the low C for the C on the 3rd fret. Okay, so the idea and what I would like you to take with you this week to the other two exercises, rather than give you more Slonimsky exercises, I just wanted to work with you on how to work with these to enhance the knowledge of the fingerboard and to also connect your ears to your fingers, this is what we're really trying to do, because we want to be able to play more of what we're hearing. We want to be able to listen to that record and pick out the notes that we like. That's what these studies are about. And this is the way I like to work with these Slonimsky exercises. It's only a 4-note pattern, but as you could see, man, that you could really come up with a lot of different ways just to do that 4-note pattern. And it's nice because they lay well. That's a monk tune, I think. And then I went over that little pattern. I think I wrote that out. Right? So they do have their uses and their positions because they lay well on the guitar. But it's important that we look at all the different options. Okay, so that's what I would like you to do with the 3 Slonimsky exercises that hopefully you familiarized yourself a little bit with in the past week. So this week I just want to kind of up the level, do a little bit more with each of these key studies that we're working with. All right, if anyone has any questions, fire away. I am loving this learning club. It's new for me. I wasn't quite sure the pedagogy I was going to take, but this is really working out great. And I think your questions are going to really put this over the top to make it a really, really great 10 weeks of learning that you can take with you. All right, so really think about it. Any questions that pop up, even if it's on, Saturday or Sunday, just send them through and we'll get them answered. Okay, thank you.